Today I'm working on this chair that has a broken leg. This was brought into the shop by a customer, and you can see here there's a large splinter that separated on this chair. The customer asked me if this could actually be re-glued, and the answer is yes. With such a large surface area here, if it's properly glued and properly clamped, this joint will be stronger than the wood itself. So this is what I need to do, is repair the joint up here in the corner, which is a dowel joint, and then get this together where I've got a nice tight fit. I could try and do it this way, but I know from experience I'd struggle. So what I'm going to do is take the back off this chair, because when this was manufactured, the back would have been made in one piece and then put together with the rest of the chair. So I'm going to undo everything, put it back together the way it was originally assembled. Then I can get in and make sure I've got nice tight joints, and then I can reassemble it, put it back together. Let me show you how that's done.
As a furniture repair business, we're opening the doors to our workshop to show you the tools and techniques to repair furniture.
What I need to do is take that apart, repair it, and put it back together so I can get this chair in working order.
We give you tips to make your repair projects easier. Let's get into the workshop and start fixing furniture.
Now I can take a closer look at the back. Here I've got this piece going on, and the first thing I need to do is repair this dowel joint. Once I've got that secured, it'll allow me to understand what's going on down here. So I need to drill out the dowel in the top here and drill out the dowel in the top crest rail, and then I can replace it and then dry fit it. The first step in removing a dowel is to cut it off level, so you've got a flat surface to drill in. I've got a detailed video on how to do this. I'll leave a link in the video description. There are a couple of brad nails sticking out, and the easiest way to deal with them is just to cut them off. So with the two holes drilled, I've inserted a dowel into the end of the leg, and that allows me to go in here and just dry fit it, meaning it's put together without any glue. So these are just dry fit. This is dry fit, so I can see what the joint looks like here. What I need to do is line it up, and here I'm getting a nice seam. Here I've got an open seam. So I need to figure out what's preventing that from closing up. I moved a few wood fibers around on the split, and that allowed me to close up this joint so I could clamp it and get it nice and tight. The last part of the puzzle is fitting in this piece that broke off. So this is a little bit more challenging because the end grain has to mesh in with the end grain of the broken piece. So what I'm going to do is unclamp the chair, get these ends matching well, and then I'll know that I can clamp it all together with glue. The challenge here is to make sure all the ends of these pieces are facing straight so that they can join together. But you can see here's an example of one that's coming out on an angle. So this one's been bent out of the way. The choice here is either break it off or straighten it out and get it meshing in with the other ones. So I'll fit this together and see how well it works. So I've got it all the way in here, but there's a little piece sticking out here. You see how this joint isn't coming together yet? So there's something in there that's binding that I need to get together. If I don't close this joint up, the seam along this edge isn't going to work properly. So it's critical that I get this tight. I've got this chair back upside down now on the workbench, so I can really focus on this edge and make sure the most visible part of the chair I can see. So I'm going to pull this together and see how well my joint fits. This one previously worked well, so it should come together okay. There's a bit of tension there, so I still have a bit of tweaking to go, but it's coming together. So I can pull this together now, and I'm going to clamp it and do a dry fit to make sure everything's coming together the way I want it to before I put any glue in the mix. It's come together well. There's a few pieces that are proud, but that's something I'm going to have to deal with after I glue it together and just shape it and get it smooth before I put some stain on. I let this dry overnight, so now I'm going to take off the clamps and see what cleanup work is left. The split glued up fairly well. On the top surface here, it's nice and level. On the bottom surface, there's a bit of a difference here. So I'm going to use a card scraper to level that out, and once I've got it leveled out, apply some stain and then finish. If you haven't discovered a card scraper yet, they're awesome tools for leveling things out. They can do things that sandpaper just can't. I'll put a link to that in the video description. With the darkest stain I have in the shop, I'm going to attempt in an inconspicuous spot to match this. I'll see how well we do. So I'm just going to rub something on here where it can't be seen that much to see how it stains up. So it's starting to get there, but I need a lot more color. So I may have to move to a gel stain to get the richness I'm looking for. I switched over to a gel stain and I put one coat on here, but you can see this repaired area here is still lighter than either side. So I need to put on another coat, and it's a very simple process. It's just a matter of putting some of the gel on. And you can see here, it's almost going to disappear. You put it on very liberally, and then let it dry for about 5 minutes, and then come back and wipe it off. So after 3 minutes of drying, I can come back and just gently wipe this, take off the excess. The last step on the finishing is to put a protective coating on top of the stained area. This gives it the proper sheen to match the rest of the chair. It's kind of hard to see it in this light. But what I'm using is a semi-gloss wipe-on polyurethane and rubbing that on, and you'll see here that the shine ends up being very similar, and that disguises the repair. Now it's time to put it all together and take a look at the finished chair. Now wait, don't stop watching yet. The story of this chair isn't done. The footage you've been watching is about 1.5 years old, and recently the customer brought back the same chair and the same leg was broken. Initially my heart sunk, thinking that my repair had failed, but on closer inspection that glue joint had stayed intact, but there was more wood that had split out. So I've got a video showing the inspection of that joint and the creation of a new leg for that chair. I'll put the video right here. We're building a supportive community about furniture repairs. Please share this with others so they can enjoy it too. Thanks for watching Fixing Furniture.